Hi, it's George from Upfish Ads, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to create campaigns. So once you have set up your brands, I'll just click on the brands tab here to show you, you'll have basically brands here that you've created. So I have one here which I've manually created, and we see that it is fully connected and ready to go. And I also have an imported brand which we see here is fully connected, ready to go. This is pending because I haven't added a URL to it yet. Totally unnecessary. It's still good. So in terms of the campaigns, when I want to launch one, I'll click on Create Campaign, and we see here from the drop down, I only have two options for brands I can use. Upfish, the manually created one, and Google Ads, the one I imported. So the reason that this is a drop down is because you might create brands that you don't finish setting up. So you import like 20 accounts from Google Ads, and then 5 of them you complete and the other 15 are waiting. You can't create ads for those 15 which haven't been set up because there is no custom AI set up for that brand. So in effect, all you're getting is generic rubbish. And what's the point? If you're just looking for generic rubbish, just go straight into, GPT or whatever. Point here is you can only select brands that have actually been fully created. So I'm just going to go with my Google Ads account here. I'm going to give it a campaign name. So I'll call this Upfish Workshop Test. Okay, now in terms of campaign names, this is just what you're going to see in your Google Ads account. The only important thing to keep in mind here is that Google won't let you duplicate campaign names. So if I know I already have one called Upfish Workshop Test, and I try to run this, it's probably going to come back as error duplicate name. The same goes for budgets as well, actually. So it's not a big deal, but what I always try to recommend in the campaign name is try and make it as unique as possible. So add in something like version 0.1 or just like some weird string, just to be absolutely sure. Obviously, if you don't make a lot of campaigns and you know that each campaign name is unique, no problem. But if you happen to work for like a chocolate company and you have Cadbury's UK 1, Cadbury's UK 2, you have some sort of a system to make sure you're not duplicating names. It means a lot less stress. And again, that's just the problem with Google Ads. You can't have duplicate campaign names. So I'm going to take a guess that I've never done Upfish Test Workshop UK video webinar before. This isn't really a webinar, this is more of an explainer video. So I give it a campaign name and I attach it to a brand. So what this means is I'm going to generate a campaign name. I'm going to generate a Google Ads campaign for this particular brand. But what is the goal of the campaign? So what we put in here is essentially what we're trying to sell, who we're selling it to, why they might be interested in clicking, and any kind of information which will help us build the best copy possible. So I'm going to say here, I'm targeting CEOs of SaaS companies in the UK who want to explore how automation and AI can help streamline marketing and sales activities. Benefits include less overheads, faster generation, cheaper prices, less workforce, ETC. Basically, yeah, as you see here, this is just a very simple one for the benefit of this video. But as long as you're touching on who, why, when, where, how, and this kind of stuff, it'll be good enough, and you'll see amazing copy. Next, we have the daily budget, which is set in the local currency. So I'm based in Europe. My local currency will be in euros. This means my daily budget is going to be 20 euros per day spent. But in America, it's dollars. If I'm in Britain, it'll be pounds, etc., etc. Same goes for the currency of the target cost per acquisition. So this is how much you're willing to pay for a meaningful action. So this is something that you would have set up in your Google Ads account. It could be a conversion, it could be a click, it could be, like an in-store purchase or whatever. But basically what we're saying here is I'm willing to spend £20, 20 euros a day, and I'm willing to spend up to €5 for a meaningful action from one particular person. And you can just, replace this to whatever you want. I'm going to keep it at 25 for this example. The next one is geography. So here, you'll put in a geography, and you should only put in one particular place. Now, the reason for this is twofold. One, when you're running your Google Ads accounts, you'll want to have one campaign, for example, Upfish Test Workshop UK, United Kingdom, Upfish Test Workshop France, Upfish Test Workshop United States. This means I can make comparisons and I can look at ad groups and copies and keywords based on the geographic data behind it. It makes it a lot easier to manage and it makes the data a lot purer. And from our point of view as well, if you were to imagine I put in, so this is probably more for US people. If I put in New York, United, so I was like, oh, I want to target New York in the United States, and also I want to go through the United Kingdom. You can see here, there already might be a mistake made. You might be thinking, oh, actually, now instead of being New York, United States, it's going to be New York and the United States and the United Kingdom. Or it could be the New York in the United Kingdom as well as the New York in the United States. Or it might be the New York in the state of the United States in the country of the United Kingdom. It makes it harder to run. Obviously, if you're doing New York, United States, it would read this as one, but the more elements you add, the more unreliable it gets for us. Because essentially, when you're coming into Google, you don't say, I want to target United Kingdom. You say, I want to target geographical resource 263. Now, of course, you don't know what the geographical resource is for any particular geography you want to target. So long story short, in terms of the best practices for Google Ads, you want to keep it as one geography. And in terms of making sure that you get the most accurate determination of your geography, you definitely want to keep it as just one location. So yeah, again, I could put in London, UK, and it would be fine. But the more I add, the harder it will become. So here, again, one entry, United Kingdom. The next step is cold traffic and branded. So cold traffic means you're searching for new customers, which means you are excluding searches related to your brand. So imagine you're Microsoft. If someone searches for operating system, then you'll probably come up in the search results. If someone bids for Microsoft operating system, then you won't, because they already know about your company. So cold traffic is people who aren't searching for your brand, and branded is obviously for existing customers, people who are. Now, you might think, again, to go back to the example of Microsoft, we can easily say, my account is called Microsoft and my landing page is Microsoft.com. So it's very easy for us to say, for branded, target Microsoft. But Microsoft is not just Microsoft. Microsoft also they have Surface, they have Windows, they have Zune. All right. So how do we account for that? Well, we have positive keywords. So I'll come into that a bit later. And the same goes for cold traffic as well. You say, I don't want Microsoft, but I also don't want Windows and Zune and whatever else Microsoft do. So this is when the next two bags come in, and I'll explain those later. So the next step after choosing whether it's cold or branded is to put in a target URL. So normally this would be a landing page, but I've forgotten what my landing page was for this example. So I'll just use a standard website, Upfish. Okay. So positive keywords and negative keywords. So positive keywords are words that you want. Negative keywords are words that you don't want. Now we have two kinds of campaign, cold and branded, and they kind of mean the same thing, but also a little bit different. So a positive keyword for cold traffic, for example, for Upfish would be like automation marketing. All right. So these are words that I really want. So just to be clear, in a cold traffic, we take your target URL and we seed keywords based on that because it gives the most accuracy of what you do. But not everybody's website is well optimized. We've seen many cases where you'll have like a recruitment company, for example, and their homepage will just be like, we are leaders in innovation. And it will mention nothing about HR. It will be just generic garbage. So when we see the keywords from there, the positive keywords will be like innovators, blah, 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 blah. And basically what happens then is the AI that we've created specifically for that brand will look at it and say, oh, no, this is a HR company. And they are, keywords to do with innovation and exploration of the human condition don't work. So when that happens, we use positive keywords as a backup. So in my example, if I seed for Upfish, and the keywords it returns, I've got a terrible website perhaps, and it's not optimized, I would say, oh, no. This is keywords. So this is where the positive keywords come in here for a cold campaign. Instead, it will look for automation marketing, look for automation sales, it will look for automation AI processes or whatever. So you can put it as much as you want in here, basically, to provide an idea of the keywords. If you're basically, as long as your landing page, your website is good, this won't get used. But if you don't have confidence, put in as many keywords as possible just to help us understand what kind of searches we should be looking for. Now, if this was a branded campaign, the positive keywords would instead be brands that you want to target. So again, in the example of Microsoft, when we seed it, if we had Microsoft.com here, we get a lot of words to do with Microsoft, but we also need you to add in something like Surface and Zune. I don't know why I'm saying Zune so much. So it will ask you basically put in, and these will get used. So for long story short, cold traffic, positive keywords are backup keywords. All right, they might not get used. They'll only get used if your landing page is no good. For branded, the positive words will get used. We're going to be searching in addition for things like Microsoft. We'll also be searching for Surface. We'll be searching for Zune. Okay. Now, when it comes to negative keywords, the opposite holds true. So in my case, I don't want anybody, so this will always get used. After I seed keywords for Upfish, or if there's a backup, I get the keywords for automation marketing and automation AI processes. I'm going to be excluding things that have the word free in it, or trial, or whatever. This is up to you. You should probably know what words you definitely want to have out. Or, you might have a competitor in there as well. Like, anything to do with HubSpot. People are searching, how do I use HubSpot for automation marketing? I'm like, no, don't want that, take it out. Okay, so the negative keywords are just words that will always be avoided. Now, when it comes to branded, the negative keywords, okay, would be competitors of basically sub-brands you want to avoid. So you have brands that you want to include in branded, and brands you don't want to include. So if you're doing a branded search for Volkswagen Jetta, okay, and you're searching people who are looking for a Volkswagen Jetta, maybe you want to exclude people who are looking for Volkswagen Beetles because you have another ad campaign for Beetles. Basically, the negative keywords are kind of universal. It's just any term you don't want to have in your search campaign. And depending on whether you're doing cold or branded, there will be different kinds of keywords. But the long story short, negative keywords are universal. They will always get used. Anything you put in here will not come back in the search term. Positive keywords are more contingent. You will only use positive keywords in cold traffic if your landing page is no good. And in terms of branded, it will always get used as well. It will look for, basically, depending on what we find, we will try and give extra, we will also include the sub-key brands. So I hope that makes sense. So at this point, when it looks good, I'll just put in free here. I would look at this and I would say, okay, I have a campaign name, which is unique. I have it connected to an account. So again, Upfish, this was a manually created account, so I can only create drafts. This is Google Ads account, so I can definitely post to Google. So I'll pick this one for the example. I have my campaign goal of who I want to target, why I want to target them, why they should be interested. I have my daily budget, my target cost per acquisition, my target geography, my campaign type, my target URL, positive keywords and negative keywords. I'm good to go. I just need to press create campaign. This will trigger our backend to start creating the campaign for you. It can take up to 3 or 4 minutes to generate. So I will just pause it for a second and then refresh it when it's ready to show you what you can see.